The Hebrew text in the Bible has hidden formats. By revealing these formats, I will prove the first writer's words were hidden from you. These formats look like poetry as I group them into small paragraphs. Their grouping will become known as a psalm, and together they become psalms. Let me show you our Creator's 12 commandments, listed in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. Any father of a family or his wife who did not obey any one of these 12 commandments, our Creator demanded they bring him a sin offering. Thus, our Creator defined the word sin as not obeying any one of these 12 commandments. Next, I want to show you how I changed one word in Exodus 26, verse 26, the word bars to arches, and the words now reveal the style of the roof for our Creator's tent for meeting with Him. Let me show you the translator's words from the preface of the 1611 King James Bible. They gave 4 reasons for themselves or others to edit the Bible's words. The red arrow at the top points to their 3rd reason to edit the text. By the light and feeling we attained unto ourselves. The next red arrow down points to them giving the title, the Divine, to a clerk named Gregory. The next block of words, they point out they were happy that the first emperor of Rome established the year to the course of the sun. Behind this text means Nebuchadnezzar ordered his kingdom to follow our Creator's calendar when he stopped eating grass. Did you notice the letter S in sun is capitalized? This is to give respect to the Egyptian sun god Ra. Have you seen the Egyptian obelisk in the Vatican's front yard? The last arrow points to your reward for studying the Bible. Your reward is to have a fellowship with the saints and participation of a heavenly nature that will never fade away. There is no such thing as nature to a truthful Christian. Our Creator created everything. By their own words, they were not seeking to know our Creator or Jesus. Not everyone has the knowledge to correct every word. I have an old Bible program that has the New American Standard Bible 1977 concordance to help find a better word. Their concordance has the number of times they use that English word in a parenthesis for that Hebrew word. The translators removed his name, YHVH, to put in 2 titles, Lord and God. I replaced those titles using the letters Y and V as his name, for the Hebrew language does not have a J, O, or W. By using these 2 letters, I am closer to the truth than anyone using J, O, or W for his name. So why is there a single letter O in the Hebrew text 1,095 times? No proper English was used? The blue highlighted text is text that I am removing. The red highlighted words are little words that I'm adding. Gray italic words are words that I added. To respect and honor our Creator, all capital letters in purple are our Creator's words. This is Jesus' prophecy, for I am revealing the first writer's words to tell you the true truths about Jesus. As the text is revealed, you can taste the writer's style of wording. Their words will take your belief to trusting our Creator. You will be watching prophecy before your eyes as I edit true truths back into their psalms. I'm setting up my chat right now in case somebody wants to chat to me. So other than that, I'm be getting it ready here. Okay. And of course, YouTube is way behind on the lag. To tell you about the last video, if you've seen it, I even tell you not to watch it because all of it's just junk. The last, what was it, chapter, I guess, 48, 49, 50, 51, and this is 52. This is the last chapter of Jeremiah. So when I get done with this chapter, the next video is going to be putting the whole text together in order. First, have I go through and edit it again, show you the edits. And then the video after that will be showing you the correct order, and then I'll move on to Isaiah. So this I started looking at and try to see what it was saying ahead of time here. So this talks about the Zedek. He's the last king at Jeremiah's time, this king right here. Jeremiah is a prophet that shows up in about the 10th year of Josiah, and he is the prophet that's left on the land or stays in the promised land after Babylon takes people into captivity. So now you know where Jeremiah is at and where Zedek here is. And this is going to tell us a little bit about his life. Now, Hebrews didn't have full numbers like we have today. So what they had was, this would have been 21 years old, 2 10s and 1 years old. When he became king, the format that I'm looking for that you're seeing above my head, I've got 3 words here, so I got to choose one that isn't going to work, but you can see here and here and here and here. That's how I'm doing the format or looking for it. So if I'm not having problems with my cold yet, and not talking much, I'm doing a lot of reading and rereading to try to figure out which word is correct and when it's not. 10 years old. He became it would be our king. Well, I guess I can do this. No, I'm going to need more of this. Just a second, I got to get this phone call. Okay, that's the phone call I had to take there. I'm going to say I'm going to keep this. When he became our king for Judah, and I've got to add to this. So when I said many times, I'm going to keep repeating this. To designate the difference between a good kingdom and a bad kingdom, I do this with the text, but since I'm, that shouldn't have happened. I got to redo that. That's not going to back up. Okay. Bold italic. Okay. When he became our king for Judah, and he reigned 10 and 1 years in Jerusalem. Now this becomes a 4-verse format, and this is a 3-verse. So I don't know which it is yet. So I need to keep working on the text to find out if it's a 3 or 4 verse as I'm going through. And he did evil in the sight of YV, like Jehoiakim, I guess, a Jehoiakim, like you had done. Okay, so that is a 3 verse. And this is, when you see the blue line, this is whose son becomes king. And this is according to our creator's hidden formats, by the way. And that's on YouTube. It's in the description below. You can click on that and see our creator's message, direct message to you today, and probably until Jesus comes again. Then this guy's son became king, and then he becomes king. His son becomes king. So that's the order. So that is right here. Sadiq to this guy here. Now, I'm going to have to put the word by and actually say that I'm going to add this, but it's got to be italic. Still don't have the macro. I'm saving that for tomorrow's work when I take a day off. By the anger. Let's see if I get rid of this. This fuchsia colored word is text that they put in 1977. And I explained in the intro, I got a Bible program that I use. So this is actually copying word for word in order and then editing it to find the first writer's hidden formats. I'm going to have to take his name here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to move it and say, by YV's anger. I'm going to put not came about but happened, and I'm going to use the word that they got there as this, but this happened. And that would be Babylon coming down to destroy. But this has to be our Creator's will, so respecting and honoring our Creator this way in the text. And then get rid of this. I will say this, and I will put it in red, and I gotta say it's gray text. Oops, I didn't get the gray there. Okay. By YV's anger, this happened in Jerusalem and in Judah. Okay. And bold, small caps. So if this is I still need to tell you that he became king. And I think the text finishes it, so it's not quite 11 years. And he reigned 10. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to put this in 9-point text right now in case I clean it up and I still need it. I'll find it there. Okay, so this and that says that meets the format. 3 verse and 3 verse, these two small paragraphs connect each other. Then these two will connect together. And I don't like the way that this is not making the right kind of format. When it says he did evil in the sight of, okay, I guess it works, because this is, I usually try to find as a statement, and then this connection with these two define this statement. And I just read in my head, I was thinking that this would be a better beginning. But I don't want to switch the words around right now. Okay. By YHVH'S anger, this happened to Jerusalem and Judah. Can't have the word until, because that would be saying I don't need this paragraph. Those two hook together too good, but if it does this verse or group says that this group comes before this group, has to. It's just reading out of place here. The word is cast. I guess that's the way they would, until he casts them out from his presence. He didn't rebel against the king for Babylon. Babylon came down and was conquering. So they came down to take as much land as they could and gather up all the kingdoms from Assyria had conquered, and they're coming through and they're grabbing people to take them back to build up their his kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar was, and he didn't rebel. He resisted. That's the better word. Hopefully I spelled it right. The king for Babylon. Oh. But that's a 4 verse now. Let's see how this could go up with this 4 verse grouping here. So when I see text like this, I know there was 2 different stories that they're using the text to make what they wanted to say. But this is not reading right here. It's not because... See, this is what I was talking about here. I'm skipping over this chapter here. I'm going here. In the 9th year, in the 9th of his reign, on the 10th day of our 10th month. Now this, okay, now I see why it's 11. Because they only have 10 months. Because they used a 7-day week and counted 5 of them at a time. So this is actually a 5th count is the way the only way I can put it in to make sure people know that that is what their month exit was like, not a fortnight month. Again, I still have to use what I used up here. Where was it? I used the word this. How come it's not showing up for me here? Oh, I thought I did this. I said it happened. Where is that? But I'm going to need this. Because the text is telling me this. And I'm going to have to do it this way. I thought I did this. Maybe I done that in the video the first time today here, so... I gotta take a look at the text here. And, oh, I don't have it set up here. To see what happened here, what am I thinking? I'm doing 52. Yeah. And 3, it's verse 3. Oh, it was a different color. Yeah, I didn't read this here. Okay, there it is. I'm sorry. Until he cast them out from his presence. His presence. But this is not really part of the story. They're sticking glue. They're sticking that in here. They're sticking pieces together because that doesn't read why he cast them out. He cast them out because they were evil. They weren't believing or obeying our Creator anymore. So this is what you would say after when they got down there and they approached him, saying, "You're going to give up or we're going to go to war," then you could say resisted by staying inside Jerusalem, the fortified city. But to have this text after this text, it's not in, that's wrong. That's just wrong. I might be able to use this verse, though, so I can't get rid of it completely. Oh, confusion. Was 21 years old when he became our king for Judah. If I'm making this a 4-verse subject, I got to say that this is the verse that's missing. And I can't even think of what it would be, but it'd be like after Jeroboam died, Zedek was 21 years old and he became king, a king for Judah, and reigned. Because I need the 11th now. So there's 2 4s. That would be reading okay. I can't use any of this. There's now, is this telling me this is the 4 verse? And is this go like this? He did evil in the sight of YV. And this has to be a 4 verse. So this has, sorry, I got to correct it to read it correctly. Can't keep a lot of this straight in my head right now. Got a cold, and it really does play with my thinking. And he did evil in the sight of YV, like Jehoiakim had done. And this would be, I would have to change it to the words to. Oops. To. To anger. And then I need this. To anger YV. But I'm starting to get the 4 verse going here. So he did evil in the sight of YV, like his father had done to anger YV. And then it's kind of like this isn't needed. Okay, I do need the second part of this. This happened in the 9th year of his reign, and the 10th day on the 5th count. See, what I'm seeing here is if I take this verse and if I stick it right here, it does read pretty good, I think, as and this is going to be like a summary, like they put it at the very end, so it does read like a summary of the days of the Zodiac, if you understood the books Kings of Kings or Kings 1 and Kings 2. So this sounds like this, because the words from Jeremiah would be written in the prophet by Jeremiah. These words are coming from the book of the king of Zedek. So that is what goes here. The book of Zedek. That's okay. See how my little mind works? But that's what the text is telling me now. It's a summary, and it is the book under Kings and not the book under the prophet's name. Sometimes it even surprises me. Okay, that's a good 4-verse. That's a good opening. Now he did evil in the sight of YHVH, like his father had done to anger YHVH. I'm going to have to put the word "and" this happened to make it read smooth. And this happened in the 9th of his reign, on the 10th of our 10th 5 count. Did I use the word his? I'll just leave it as ours. But then that reads correctly as grouping it together. But what I had to do was I had to, let's see, moved here. This will be 8-point blue text. And then I got it from down here. Wait a second. Yeah, because I got it down farther here. Okay. Oh, my little mind goes off when you got a cold. It just move, group, up. And now I can make this 8-point. And now it's moved up there. Okay, now that reads in order now. It would have to, see, now when you use the word them, this means it's like being wrote after his time, because it would have to be us otherwise in here. Like this, the writer was here and he was left over and he was the scribe at that time. This is talking like it was written in Babylon's time, or after they got to back to the Promised Land. They retold the story after they. Yeah, because that's how we got the other books then too. Ezra, Zephaniah, or Zephaniah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even remember the prophecy. My head is so cloudy at doing this. Usually, I just rattle everything off. This happened to Jerusalem and Judah, for Zedek resisted the king for Babylon. There. That isn't needed. This is where this goes. Okay. Okay, now that was a rough start for me today. Okay, now it's a 4-verse format, and it's coming from the Book of Kings. So now you see how Kings was made, and it had the most important events for the king, I can see here. So the king for Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar was their king, because I already got Babylon up here, so I can't use Babylon here. So to say this and this I've added, and this I don't need, but this word came could go over here to came with this army. Oh, the king, so the city was under siege. Until this month, the following year. Until the 11th, until the 11th. Okay. Now this is reading like it should be divided here. Until the 7th, or till the 10th, and 1 year. We know that it's the Zedek, so we don't need this. On the 9th day of the 4th month. Famine was it has to be there was a famine. Famine and disease, because the prophecy our creator talks about is that there's going to be famine and disease. Famine and disease. Famine and disease was severe in We know the city, Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Okay, I'm glad you got entertained here on this one at the beginning. So, for there was no food. And there was no harvest. And there was no harvest. 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 The 10th, you got to understand the summer solstice is the very beginning of their year. So when it said the 10th month, and it's usually 10-5 week, 35 days, but their year didn't end completely as a 7-day week. It would have to have a few more days. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's 3 days. The last time I studied it, the majority of them. So, so this would have been harvest time when they went into, when they were down there. They couldn't go out into the field. So the famine and disease was severe in Jerusalem. Do I use the word for is what I'm thinking here? For there was no harvest. Yeah, I'm going to have to put for. It's not reading right if I no harvest for the there was no harvest by okay, writing this after it can't be said. The people it has to be from their fields. It can't be just land. But it's you don't harvest the land itself. You can say it that way, but the intent here is that they couldn't get out on there by the people. This would have to be from. This has to be there. Did I spell that right? It's bugging me. I'm not a very good speller. And this is no help. This is, I got to get back and do all my macros, everything over. There, fields. I tell you, Microsoft just wrecked Word for me since 2016. I've been using Word since Word 1. And it was really improving, and then all of a sudden they started adding too much. And now I can't just click on, say, check the spelling of the word. I got all that crap on there. So what it means is when I was re-putting my computer together, I got the wrong one. I got to go back and reload this, which means I got to remake my macros. Oh, just problems. But I go through them about every 3 years when I get a new computer. The field was severe in Jerusalem, for there was no harvest by the people from their fields. Okay, now that was a good grouping. But I guess I got to go up here. I guess maybe that's not how it's supposed to be broke. I'm not sure. Because I got to find one to go with this one. So let me put that back up here together. Because this is going, Nebuchadnezzar was their king. And he came with his army. Not against, to capture. It has to be to capture, to capture Jerusalem. Whoops. To capture Jerusalem. They camped around it. Against it, around it. And people say every word in the Bible is true. Anybody can do better text than what's in the Bible. Okay. Now that's a good grouping. This has got to be to, I don't know if this is to build a siege. I got around it already. So this I've got to say is doubling up the text. Don't need this. So Jerusalem, where's, I got it down here. So Jerusalem was besieged. Besieged. Until the 10 and 1. Till the 11th year of the 4th month. Fifth count. Five count, not fifth count. Five count. Boy, what a man. I can't use this. to capture Jerusalem. They camped around it. Okay, well, maybe I can. Maybe that's a double. Until the 10th, yeah, and then leave it like that. So that's 2, and then this would be that 2. And I'd have to use the word "and" to kind of run it through to make it sound right. On the 9th day, on the 4th, 5 count. No, I thought I read it differently then. The famine and disease so severe in Jerusalem, there was no harvest by the people in the land from their fields. Then Jerusalem was broken into. What that means was the walls were breached. So this has to mean Jerusalem's walls were and this word breached. And all the men of war fled. These had they look. Okay, I was going to tell you the story. It's here between at night by the way of the gate. Which was by the king's garden. So this has to be a hidden gate by the hidden. Otherwise, they would have had men standing outside of that. They were camped all around it. So they were launching rocks to tumble the walls for these months as well. But it took a while to build all that stuff. Built the ramps to go up the side and battle them on the edge there, so, or on the wall. You didn't. It can't be a gate, it's got to be a door. A gate, like I said, that would be too obvious, and I wouldn't call it a gate. Hidden, yes. And I got us at night by the hidden. No, I can't do that. Night has got to go on the end of this word, this one here. They went forth, they fled, I don't need this if I got the word fled from the... Where's this again? I don't know if I got that in the memory bank here. Or in the clipboard from Jerusalem at night. Now that would be... This has got to be... Okay. Then Jerusalem's walls were breached. This has got to be Zedek and his captains. And this has got to be this. So I got to put Zedek and his captains. And I can't use his name that way. To get this right, I got to use the word he. And he... and his captains. That's how it's going to go. He and his captains fled. He and his commanders. The very highest ranking. I guess there could have been more fled out the door, but these fled as a group, and then whoever come out afterwards, that's fine with me. But I have to make sure that these guys fled, or at least a group of them, because they're going to chase them here. Where is it? He overtook him. And when he was captured, he passed sentence on him and slaughtered his sons. So maybe it's just him and his sons fled. His men could be sons. And that would be he and his sons fled from Jerusalem at night by the hidden door. Between the walls. Well, this is by the kid. This here is gone. By the hidden door. Not between, within. In the wall. In the wall. By the king's guard. But this is not... Still, I need that to connect to this. They fled from Jerusalem at night. This would make it a good one here to here. So let me say that's decided now. And this, it would be where they fled to by the king's garden. Now this is went on a path. This wouldn't have been a road. They would have, because it would have been too obvious. This couldn't be, although there could have been a road around the wall. And it's not Arabia. So let me set this up a little bit for you. I got to get a larger map than that. Pretty soon I'll have everything figured out, but this is Arabia here. But this is the area. Jerusalem is over here. Arabia is talking Arabian desert in this land that's very sparse of people. Now, they did have people living here, and they were the Arabs, okay? I don't know when they... I think it's Solomon's time this is known that they were trading with the Arabs. So, but to go where the Arabs are at that you know here now, you still have to know that Jerusalem is, yeah, I don't even have it here on this map, but Jerusalem is right about here. And they can't go all the way down here. The text is going to have them captured here out along the Jordan. So they're fleeing this way. So I got to they fled to the Jordan or fled, and they went to, and this has got to be Jordan. And hopefully they could get past that. Either take the horses through the water, because they surely weren't going to be, the roads would have been blocked up or guarded. So to the Jordan. But they didn't have their own army. They were under the army. So they were a force of Chaldeans. Okay, I got to take a break here, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. The Hebrew text in the Bible has hidden formats. By revealing these formats, I will prove the... Why was that playing? I don't know. It shouldn't have been. Okay. Oh, I might have forgot to turn it off. It stops and starts. Okay. I was setting up my chat. But a force of Chaldeans pursued the Chaldeans, overtook Zedekiah. Look, they didn't have planes. I really wish I could use a map. I gotta make my own map, but you gotta understand, sea level is here. The hill country goes up to like 1900 feet of all these hills in Israel. And then down here, this slope, and then you got a small little area for the river, Jordan River. It's 1,800 feet below the sea level. And then the side comes back up, and it actually goes up quite high over the hills of Israel. So there is no plains. This has to be by the banks, by the bank. Well, they said by Jericho. Okay. It wasn't the plains. It's the Jericho. I'm going to have to put fields by Jericho. Field. In the field. Yeah, I'm going to put, because there's going to be no way to know exactly where, so by Jericho. Now this might even have to be corrected to be match our creator's prophecy, because I think his prophecy said they were at the Jordan River and they couldn't cross through the thick brush of getting into the river, and that's where they caught up to them. And that would be the end of this, though. By a force of Chaldeans. Now, see, this was his captain or his commanders scattered from him. But I don't think that's who they killed later. They slaughtered his sons and all the commanders. See, this, you wouldn't have princes. The sons are up here, and they didn't call them princes. And he also slaughtered all the captains or commanders. See, that's why I had the word commanders in above. But I guess you can't put everything in the words that we've got right now from them. So let's see here. pursued the king and overtook Zedekiah in the fields by Jericho. But if I got this, now this, yeah, that's a double space. This is double space. That means this has to be a double space here. They scattered from him, but they couldn't. You can't have that many people running out the gate or this hidden passage. It's not going to be something that's like a drawbridge where they could see these markings on the wall, how it would be broke. It's got to be like on a tilt or a turn door. And then you could get a passage of a horse by on both sides. And they can't be scattered from them because they caught them. So this can't be right. This can't be used at all. And so I can tie that to this. It's got to be then. It's got to be after they captured him. Or, yeah, after they captured them. Them. They, whoops. They brought the king after the capture, they brought them. I got to keep the word to, but I've got to say, I got to go find Nebuchadnezzar. I cannot spell his name after his 30 years. I still can't spell his name. Nebuchadnezzar. And that's one name I didn't really want to shorten of all the names that I should. But after they captured them, they brought him to Nebuchadnezzar. Not in, but by. By. And it can't be here because by the land. Now this, I'm going to put, we don't know. We really don't know. Because nobody knows where this location of these cities are at. They corrupted so much text that's not even funny. By the land of, or by the city of, by the land, by the land, city. Okay. And he passed sentence on them, not just him, but them. Period. And Nebuchadnezzar. I'm going to say had them. I don't think he personally done it. That isn't what the text is telling me yet. And them slaughter the sons of Zedek before his eyes. From this would be normal, but and he also let's put it this way. I got to change the word to kill. Had them killed. And he also killed all the commanders. Now it's saying it's by this place of Judah. Up here was different. So this is gone. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So then, this has to tie with it. Then he had them blind. Oh, come on. Them blind days of Zedek. And bound him with chains. Brought him to Babylon. He had him. He had him put in prison until his death. But this, so I guess they didn't blind him. I guess I'll take this out. All the commanders and change to be brought to Babylon. Put him in prison until his death. Okay. Gotta save some of this. This is 3, that's 4. This is the next group of 4. Okay. Now comes. Now on the 10th day of the 5th month. Now up here I gotta look to see what the month was here. On the 4th 5 count. So this is almost going to be like within 35 days. Okay. So it's kind of like on the next 5 count. That was the 10 and 9 years. Now that can't be right. This is trying to tell us how old Nebuchadnezzar was when he ruled. And we do have a date when he became, or about a day that he came, the king of Babylon. And I can't remember. Because this is going to be a separate story. That's the death of, or that's what happened to Zedek. They're overthrown, they're captured. Now this has got to be now on the 10th day of the 5th month. They had to be going around collecting all the people. They had burnt down his house. That hasn't been said yet. They haven't burnt the cities down. That hasn't been mentioned yet. So I'm thinking this is when this is going to start, this burning of. This would be talking about the death when he died. Okay. Supposedly when he died. It's given us a timeline. Ten and 9 is 19 years. Or Nebuchadnezzar. So you can see this is definitely written under the Book of Kings. Now I shortened this guy's name down to Nebu. Is captain. No, Nebu, a captain. No, the captain of. He was not captain of bodyguards. He was captain of captives. Yeah. Our, but they had two different people that they had. Jeremiah told them when they were coming down, if they left their cities and went to them, they wouldn't kill them. And that way our Creator would be sparing their life. So it has to be of our captives, and you call them deserters? If you're giving yourself over, forgot to keep an eye on this thing over here. What is YouTube doing to me here? Okay, it still says the stream is healthy. Okay. I gotta say deserters. How do I spell deserters? Deserters? Oh, I spelled it right. Okay. Then I gotta put it like that. Whoops. But I added that. The captain of our captives and deserters. Came to Jerusalem. We know who he is or where he's from. And this is the house, but because I can't say that our Creator was calling it his house. Oh, well, this wouldn't be them saying it. When the enemy is talking, they give it up that the house, and when our Creator give it up his house, I was using this type of way to designate whether our Creator had already given up on it, and the priests had already been putting their female goddess images in it. So that's what it was left. Burned the house for YV. And the king's house, notice it's a house, not a palace, not something big that everybody's saying that was there. And here it is, the house, and it's correct. It was right across the street from his house, or from his gate to his courtyard. And the king's house And the homes, I try to designate the difference with these two words. House, I usually have as like they have servants, they're richer, they're larger. But homes are what most people are going to be living in. And the homes in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem. King's house. And maybe it's the houses in Jerusalem. Yeah, maybe that is right. Maybe that is. Because there would have been the rich in there. And the houses in Jerusalem. And every home. See, that's how that came in pretty slick that time. I had to use both of them in the same verse here. So that's a good definition for those two words to how they were designated and why they were designated the way they are. He burned with fire. So still don't say this, but I gotta say now this, the story is because it's a break from here. This would be like when they're taking them captives. This guy was busy doing this. Then, and this, I gotta say for someplace else, this goes, I don't know where. Because it looks like it's supposed to be next here. And then I'm missing a 4-verse grouping here. Okay. Now that does a little bit. Okay. And then these are together. Now these have already been besieged or what I got breached. So this is just doesn't need to be repeated. Because I was imagining it was probably about 5 months to go through the walls. They were limestone and probably very fortified. Then he didn't put him on his back. He led them away. And you can see he's in charge. He came to the house, burned it down. Then he led them away. Very cool as to being how precise the text is. He led them away. Yet not the poorest, they were the weakest. They didn't take, they had to go, what is it? They would have left the weakest behind, the elderly, the sick. They weren't going to make this 700-mile trek to go north. It's some of the weakest. Here's deserters. Were left in the land to do whatever they want. They burned their houses, so they weren't very kind to them. And I imagine the people that come by after that pillaged the place. So they probably gathered as much as they could going through. Okay, that's the 4 verse. Oh, and the artisans. They have to pick out the artisans here. Oh, here it is. The poorest of the land, he left them to be vine dressers. Oh, yeah, there's plenty of, they didn't burn their fields either. Yep. See, everybody had a grapevine to make wine from. But why? Never mind. That's just oversalted. The bronze pillars. Or, yeah, I can do that. Or, and I would say, well, it would be the writer would say this for YV. For YV. And the stands, there were altars. There was a bronze altar. These are all the things that they used. Okay, here's the large. Okay, because I know all the articles that are there, they used. So this has to be the stands and the altars. So, but it was all one piece. So it has to be altars of bronze. The altars of bronze. And the courtyard. And this, I'm going to have to move his name. Put it here, add apostrophe, add an S, and say I moved it to here in YHVH'S courtyard. This is reading out of place because there's a lot of other things I got to take with them. But these were pretty large. This was large. This was large. This would have to be were. Broken into pieces. Bronze at that time was reusable. It's not like the bronze you know of today. That's why David captured or took the bronze and then reused it by taking it from all the other cities that he conquered. Were broken into pieces and they carried I don't think it was the Chaldeans, and I'm missing the fourth verse here, as you can see. So I'm looking for the fourth verse. I'm just not hesitating here. And they're, what do you want to call them? Warriors, soldiers, warriors. And their warriors carried the bronze to Babylon to be reused for their temples. I think that's good enough to be truthfully. Because if you're wondering why, I had to explain that that's why they're taking them to reuse. That's correct. This part down here, if they're taking them from what they think is a God's house or God's temple, they would reuse them there because they're saying, oh, that's so much that, yeah, we could do that for ours. Okay. You know what? This part right here, I've been waiting to where it goes. This has got to be after that. It's going to go right here, but it's still going to be. So I'm going to put it there. It needs to be moved down. Two versus down. Leave it over there to be. Oh, where people can spot it easy enough. Yep. Okay, good enough. Maybe back one. This has got to be saying who came. Okay. That's why it's not there. Or who's doing this tearing apart. Like I said, it can't be the Chaldeans. That day. Warriors were assigned to to bring what? There's silver, gold, and because there's three items: the bronze, silver, and gold. You got to understand there's utensils, but maybe the utensils were assigned by somebody else. You bring back, bring to Babylon, and then these I've added. Okay. The bronze pillars for the house for YHVH and the altars of bronze in the courtyard. And I'm going to put all here now. All the bronze. And that covers a lot of things. And we're going to go through that list here. And all the bronze in YHVH'S courtyard. Okay. Okay, that might be reading out of place when I'm reading that. And now it's kind of like all the bronze. I don't need the word also. And they took away. No. You got to understand there was, okay, here's the basins. The snuffers weren't there. A snuffer is used to put out candles, okay? And there was and the snuffer was in his house, not in the courtyard. But it was made out of gold. There was basins to wash their hands, because you got to understand, after the priest removed the muscles from the ram or goat, they were placed on a plate, gold or silver, I can't remember, probably gold plates, silver cutting items, because it was stronger. They could have used them as knives and a fork. And they had to cut them up into pieces, and then they hung them over the stands that had like hooks to hang the meat, so they could build a fire underneath that on the altars. And they took away, so these have to be like pails, not pots, pails. They had to remove the ashes. So we're going to put the pails and shovels together, and shovels to know that that's what they go together as. And the basins, and now these were called fire pans. Okay, now they got the word fire pans down here. So, because they had wood there that they needed, so they'd put the wood there, and it was a fast burning fire, so it means they had small items, grass, to when they put the flame, they bring over a fire pan, which would have a lot of oil and fire going at the same time, and they would either just stake that fire pan and leave it underneath there and to start the fire. So I need the word fire, and you understand what fire pans are now. With the word, they took away the pails and shovels, the basins. I'm going to put it down so everybody knows what they are. Wash basin, wash basins, and fire pans. Which the priest used, so I don't know if I need to add the word priest or not here. And this, because you got to understand that when they're talking about the courtyard, you wouldn't have utensils, okay? And they can't be called vessels. So let me get rid of the word vessels. All that is bronze. Okay. Then I don't need this. We know why they're there. That I got hooked into that. So then it would be like this. Then it's like that. And that's a too good, yeah, that's how it's going to be. With me moving that down there, or here, makes that really nice now. Okay. Now, we know that they took them away. Now, the lampstand that's in the house, okay, here, all these are gold and silver stuff. All the bronze, okay. So when I say all the bronze, when it comes down here, there are 12 bowls, not bowls, but they'll be rams that are 3 on each side with their rears to the inside. They were cast out of bronze, and then a very large flat item was made for the altar that sat on top of them, and that was used as the 13th altar that was for the king to offer for his sin, to atone for his sin, or for all the people. So, but I've already got that listed under all. You just need to know that they were there. Uh, not libation bowls. There was bowls of wheat. So they were kind of like a promised bowl for bowls set that would mean that they would always have food and not famine if they obeyed the 12 commandments. That's what these bowls are, and they were put on a gold table, and then a gold pitcher with oil that was used to anoint the priests to work in the courtyard and to anoint the king, the next king. Or the king. And the silver was utensils. Utensils. Oh, I can't. Utensils. Oh, that's how you use it. You select it. I've been wondering how I use that. And the silver utensils. The bowls, there was right. It was 2. There were 2 of them. Gold. This wasn't there. the lampstand and pitcher. I just got done telling you it was a pitcher for holding the oils. The high priest was supposed to be the first one in there to fill up the oil in the lamps and then light them and then put them out with a snuffer at the end of the day. So this has to be pitcher. It was made out of gold. The lampstand and pitcher. The bowls of gold and the silver utensils. What we're missing is the table and the ark that everybody's looking for, or chest. Because they could have scraped it off. Because you got to understand, there's the angels there that are overcoated with gold. The mercy seat's out of gold. Table of gold. This one. Table of gold, so gold. And the lampstand only had one of them, so I got to get rid of this. And the lampstand and pitcher, the bowl. I got to put it this way. I got to put this here. I'll put it right here. The table of gold. Or the bowls of gold. And the silver utensils. Now, what is all missing here is the other items that I was telling you about. They, who's ever they that's going to be in the, I listed above, they took away, and these aren't there. Now I have to say what they took here. The two angels, the chest, and his seat. Of gold. Oh, I guess I'll do it like this right now. I was thinking about putting them all in bold words like this, and a seat of gold. I guess I could say mercy seat, and everybody should know mercy seat. They should know why they're taking them. They took. Then they, okay, I could put then they took away the two angels and the chest. I get rid of the word two, leave it as an S to show that there's two chests. And I got to put this next because I got to continue this sentence here and say, took away his mercy seat and the angels and chest overlaid with gold. Overlaid with gold. And that's how it's done, if you got a good memory, what was there. So everybody wants to know where the chest is at. I see them even today. Oh, we found it buried here. Oh, we found it buried there. And they even found the blood of Jesus. Idiots. Clickbait stuff. They're making money on lies. Stupid Christians giving them a million clicks. Just stupid out there. Okay. Now we have them removing what's inside the house. That's everything that would be gold and silver. Perfect. That we know Solomon by his first name, don't we? Don't need to say this. Had made for the house. For Wivey. Was beyond weight. Can't use that. All these were beyond their weights. They probably portioned them out, recorded. This is what I'm thinking. They recorded these, and they were saying that they couldn't record a lot of them. So how do I say that? Made for the house, oh wait, and the bronze. all and all. I got to put this way. I got to say I added this, I'm moving this, I'm getting rid of this, moving that over, that's not needed. The house for a YV and all the bronze were beyond their weights. No, wait a second. I just got done telling you they had to have an accounting for it. Were accounted by weights. So they kept a record of what they had. These two are grouped together. Nope, these two got to group together. So yeah, I can't recount this to make this as a group. I could probably, but I'm not making sense because the way I edited it up above when I said all the bronze, that's including all the bronze here. So this is missing something right now. So I got to put it here as missing. And I'll do that for right now unless I find the text, because the next text group doesn't do that. This next group, this doesn't need to be listed. It's actually listed what they done in the text when it's mentioning how they built the house. But this is all the bronze. So I got that all covered in the word all. And we don't need to know about the counting of the pomegranates along the thing. Okay, now this is going to be needed. Now this are the people. This guy is the highest priest, not the chief. He was the highest priest at the time. But these guys had to go where it had to be Nebu did this. I'm going to put it there, Captain. Our Captain. And I just put this here. Now, I don't know. I have to check. I think this guy's name is used someplace else. And you got to understand, each of these priests had an assistant. So it wasn't a second priest. You don't have a second priest. That, I guess, get everything down below that line. So yeah, it looks better that way. Don't need these. Put that back up there. Now, because this is going to go, this is not in order. This text here has got to go back when he's gathering the captives. So also from the city, I don't need this. The men for war. Seven advisors. I guess if I use one commander, the rest of them took off. The other one stood up to be counted with his men. Took from the city one commander. As an official, big deal. Who is he? Of the men of war. I'm trying to say, I don't see that. This is starting to get into numbers that have no meaning to. Let's see. We don't know how many. Men of war and the king's advisors. And then that makes a 4 verse. Okay. This is not needed. This was going to go with the other part that we already know that he's took him to Babylon. And we know that this has happened because he didn't put them to death. Although, yes, he is supposed to. This priest, I believe, is supposed to die, according to a prophecy. So I got to make sure that they put him to death. because I think he has an argument with Jeremiah as well. From its land. Don't need this. When I was reading it, that doesn't make any sense. Let me get rid of this. This doesn't make any sense. Now it's the 23rd year. So let me put this because I'm going to throw it out. That doesn't matter. Now they're saying this king is still around. Well, he had to be replaced. And they spell it just a little bit different. But they're saying that this king already exists as an exile, and King of Babylon come down once, didn't come down twice. Oh, he's going to show this guy favor in prison. And he blamed to put him above the thrones of the other kings that he's got captured. He collected kings like they were trophies. You gotta hand it to these idiots. They can make up the weirdest stories. Yeah, and then they give him a change of clothes, and he got kings like the meals. Oh, give him a regular allowance. He could party and have everybody until the day was done. Okay, now let's get back to what's being serious that I got to do here. This last group here. This I'm going to edit, but I'm not sure, because when I can say it struck them down, I can say that these guys were also taken with the king. And then they were all, although maybe one group was done once and another group was done later. Okay, so that's how it's going to happen. Then Nebuchadnezzar, I got to go find his name again. But I'm almost done, and it's only 2 hours and 25 minutes. I thought it was going to be about 3 hours to do this one. So, not too far off. Come back here. Where's down here yet? Oh, I separated them. Guess that would be at the end of this, so. Yeah. Struck them down, that means killed. Put them to death means killed. So, should I put killed to death? Oh. I'm going to put it, had them killed. Had them killed. And Nebuchadnezzar had them killed. Had them killed by and I'm certainly not going to use this name if I didn't use the last time. So this is just going to get a blank. This. From its land, from their land. From their land. I'm going to need that. So into exile from their land. Nebuchadnezzar didn't lead them away. It has to be then our captives were led into exile. Okay. Now you know why I did a quick, as I usually do, go through here, get the text what I can hopefully say I can work with and use. But that's going to be it for the book Jeremiah. And better save that and then make sure I don't hit any key and wipe that out. And then I didn't have the other book open. What happened here? Put it here in the text with the rest of the stuff that I've got. And 46 was the last one that I have this. So if I do this and clean it up, and then I'll give you some time to take a screenshot of things here. Now that was a long macro. Okay, but it's all 4 verse. So it was written for the King, Book of Kings. Whoops, that's not that key. Then, yep, 2 of them. That's missing. That's got to be deleted. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work out. I got to take a look at it a little later. because these, yeah, I've got them grouped here that I don't know. Well, I got it like it's supposed to, so let me just put it there right now like that. Then this has to go 2, so I got a space there. This is supposed to be 2 and then brought here. And that and 2. And then 2. But we have now the accounting of what they took as part of the story. Yeah, there's going to be some of these out of order, but I will be the one to work on it, and that's going to be the next video. But that's going to be in a couple days. Need a day off. Well, I'll learn that next holiday. A lot of people don't, not searching YouTube yet. Haven't had too many people come and talk in the chat, which is really good. That's what it's for, is for people to talk, and I like discussing things to point out to help people understand what I'm doing, and giving them the true truths and explaining it in detail. Okay. And that is going to be the end. So let me, bring it down, get it back up here, and I'll even, got to do this a little bit more, because a screenshot, you can be able to get more in it here this way, so you can study the text a little bit better there. And then I'll do this and say, put this on the screen and start shutting stuff off over here. And then one more, I think. Nope, gonna be some more. There's a lot more text than I thought I was gonna get, but we have a complete list of what they took, if you see that. And that was the end. Yep. All right. The next one's going to be a little bit better, because I will have this, what I've done here, all these, and I will go through and re-edit them, and then I'll just go through the talking of what I've done for the edits. And then the one after it is going to be really interesting, because I've got to label them, and then text is going to move all over the place. So then, by then, I'm hoping to have a few other things, and pretty soon you'll be able to click on and download the PDF file.